Right, so we'll start with the Irish Times this morning. Sexton joins Ireland for Six Nations warm-up in Portugal. Pictures of Sexton with referees in all of the newspapers today after Eddie Jones' comments, of course. Contepomi says lack of game time not an issue as long as the out half is fit for the opener. Johnny Sexton's continuing recuperation from a knee tendon injury will take place in warm weather climes in Portugal this week as part of an Ireland training camp. So, and then relegation threat, no excuse for England club struggles is Thorny's column there. You will fall from grace pretty quickly if you think you're better than you are. So this is Conor O'Brien, Leinster's Conor O'Brien, eager to follow in the footsteps of Robbie Henshaw. So Conor O'Brien was 11 in 2008, which would make him 22 now, right? 21 or 22, yeah. Yeah. So the Leinster net gets cast ever wider as they search for players who ultimately will end up probably playing for Munster. Henderson and Byrne out. Ian Henderson and Tadhg Byrne have been ruled out of Ireland's Six Nations opener against England on the 2nd of February. And then Sarri in peace talks with his Chelsea squad. Is this what? Is it? I kind of just thought this was like, that'd be grand. But then you remember it's Chelsea and you think, maybe it won't be. Chelsea could finish 13th if they all just decide to. Nah, we've seen this before. Maurizio Sarri held talks with the Chelsea squad at the club's training ground yesterday to clear the air after accusing the players of being difficult to motivate. I mean, he's just telling the truth.
Yeah, definitely, he's spoken Italian when he gave all these quotes for the first time in a while. He's angry.
It is his job to motivate them. So if you're saying you can't motivate them, then you can't do your job. And that's what they'll use against you when they decide not to pay you money when they sack you.
One of the more worrying developments, I'd imagine, for Sarri this morning is that Eden Hazard says he might actually stay at the club. So he's like, yes, I am going to stay and make your life miserable for the next 6 months. Sarri's also said that I'm probably going to get sacked in like a year, so I may as well speak the truth now.
Djokovic has key to unlock Nishikori. So Novak Djokovic and Kei Nishikori are playing in the Australian Open. We didn't actually turn that on, so I can't give you the very latest in that one. MP urges racing to tackle political ignorance or face dire consequences. One of racing's staunchest supporters in Parliament has warned there could be dire consequences if political indifference and ignorance of the sport are not tackled. Labour MP Conor McGinn was... this warning was seized upon by senior racing figures yesterday who described the understanding and support for the industry in both houses as very strong. Very strong. Wow, that's very strong. I've got the mail today. Sorry about that. Price is right. Horan insists ticket increase long overdue. There won't be another one for 8 or 10 years, and then there'll only be one in 20 years on.
Well, the reason why it's gone up to €20 as opposed to €18 is because it's handier for people at the turnstiles, he says, that they didn't want to be handing out €2 coins and change. Or €3, I don't know, is it going to be 17 or 18 euro? That €20 just rounded up. He says that we needed to round it up.
What do you think of that?
I think if you're charging the very backbone of your community because it's handier for people working at the turnstiles, I think that is the incorrect decision.
What would Tony McGregor say?
Well, yeah, Tommy outside was saying that they don't like coinage. That's what they share in common with one another, the GAA and Tony McGregor.
Ireland hit with lock crisis ahead of Six Nations, and then coaches look on course. The picture of Robbie Keane and Jim McGuinness and friends. Isn't that what they said? So it's they're alongside the head coach of Shamrock Rovers under-19, Stephen Rice, and the ex-Canadian international Jimmy Brennan, who are all taking part in the pro licence. There's a picture of Jim McGuinness and Big Mick, 2 silver foxes. It's like, I wonder what Jim, how long is it before Jim McGuinness is involved in the Irish setup?
Post Stephen Kenny, probably. Whoever the manager is after that, then, or I suppose at an underage level, could he be Stephen Kenny's under-21 successor?
I think I'm willing to make a bet with you right now that Jim McGuinness will be involved at some level with the under-21s. Maybe not as his successor, but potentially like working with his successor. At
what stage does the Irish football fraternity accept Jim McGuinness as one of their own?
I think they've already done it. I think he's on that B licence or the A licence course, the pro licence, and he's clearly a very good networker. And so he'll be making buddies with these guys, and they will understand that this is somebody who has like dedicated the last 8 or 9 years of his life to becoming a really good football coach. And I think he's smart enough to be able to do it. When you think of some of the stupid people who are able to be successful in management at Premier League and Championship level, and you think this guy is a bit of a like coaching guru, very, very powerful in company, like of course he's going to make it as a football manager.
Yeah,
at some level.
there is also the element of actually investing in one of those courses. He is dedicated to the cause, McGuinness. I'm sure he's not going to be let down from a lack of work ethic. And yeah, that picture certainly suggests to me that they're getting on pretty well. I do wonder if there is still a kind of a sense that he's not one of us just yet, but maybe on the graduation day, once he gets his badge, they'll be like, yeah, you're one of us now, Jim.
This bit, so obviously comes from yesterday's John Horan comments as well. Páirc Uí Chaoimh bill of 110 million would be unlucky. An unlucky bill for 110 million. Don't you have accountants who can tell you the exact amount? And auditors who can tell you? You do have accountants and auditors and quantity surveyors and people who are managing this process the whole way along. So if it's lucky or unlucky, unlucky is an unusual choice of words for the GAA's money, which is going to be spent and given away to a third party, builders, lawyers, architects, whoever it is, electrical contractors. It's funny, this 110 million is unquantified, but the 33.3% increase on the ticket price, they know exactly what that's going to do. Like, the GAA is a really brilliantly run organisation when it comes to their finances. So somebody somewhere knows exactly how much Páirc Uí Chaoimh is going to cost. And it's mad that the president of the organisation is saying stuff like, it'd be unlucky if this bill runs to 110 million. What's the facts? Why do we not know the facts? Why is the GAA's money being spent in this way, and why is there not a definitive number? Because it doesn't appear as if the president knows exactly what the outcome of this is going to be. And if he doesn't, why doesn't he? Why has he not made it his business to know?
Yeah, that's exactly the tone from it yesterday, that he will hope to have some solid facts and figures pretty soon. It does appear that there were solid facts and figures a couple of weeks ago. It was just varying degrees of actually how you'd actually paint this. Now, the Cork GAA board have said really it's not as bad as it looks, whereas Peter McKenna was saying that it is as bad as it looks, and this is not a good situation, and Croke Park need to take control of Páirc Uí Chaoimh. And it seems that John Horan is somewhere in the middle there, which is rather unusual. I would have thought that the 110 thing was kind of a done and dusted sort of situation. That was the figure.
And so maybe that wasn't. Horan hopeful Páirc Uí Chaoimh overrun is less than feared. GAA President John Horan has revealed the final cost of Páirc Uí Chaoimh's redevelopment is highly unlikely to run to 110 million, a figure initially put forward by Peter McKenna last month. So McKenna stated in mid-December it had become clear the amount spent in the Cork Stadium way exceeded what people thought, and that the end figure would be probably close to 110 million. Tracy Kennedy came out and said, no, 86 million. That estimate remains in place. And then John Horan says, we'd be very unlucky if the build figure actually reached 110 million. I mean, is it mad to put this story beside the increase in ticket prices and go, what the hell's going on?
No, that was the first thing I thought. So it was like, what's the biggest financial story in the GAA over the last couple of weeks? And it is the Páirc Uí Chaoimh situation. Croke Park are taking control of the Páirc Uí Chaoimh situation, if we're to believe everything we read, and they're taking control of something that could cause a huge amount of debt. Why would they suddenly then come back and launch a pretty significant rise on revenues? Well, I think that's a pretty good reason to do it. And is it a good reason? Well, no, it's not. It's a terrible situation that they found themselves in. So I don't think it's unreasonable to put two and two together there. I think they have said, though, that it is nothing to do with it. I'm not quite sure, but I think they have said that Páirc Uí Chaoimh has nothing to do with it. That it is just to do with, changing times and all that, despite the fact that, are Irish people earning 33.3% more than they were the last time ticket prices increased? Probably not.
So remember, Tracy Kennedy gave that interview and said that there'll be no extra costs on the Cork clubs for the overrun. Does this mean that the GAA coffers are going to be... So, there's an extra million going to... $500,000 this year is going to clubs, John Horan said, and he's already given an extra $500,000 in recent years, so that'll be over his tenure, a total of $1 million. But isn't that the amount they're raising from the All-Ireland final increased tickets? Isn't that extra tenner on both games ultimately going to roughly raise about $1 million?
Yeah, that'll be 800 grand. Well, I suppose you're not including terrace tickets in that, but let's call it 700 grand.
Yeah, so
to split the difference.
Yeah, so that extra club money is essentially coming from the All-Ireland finals. Where's the extra money from the fiver increase in the league games? Qualifiers are going up as well.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Qualifiers are Donnacha Boyle has it all outlined nicely in the Irish Independent this morning, in terms of the actual increases on the right hand side. So if you're looking at the final,
qualifiers up a fiver up from 20 to 25. for the fourth round. Qualifiers first, second and third round up a fiver to 20.
So I was just looking at it earlier on, the total cost for, say, a Dublin football fan who's paying full price to go to all their games this year, and you'd expect they're going to go to the All-Ireland final, would be €385, which I'd expect is far higher than ever it was during the peak of the Celtic Tiger. Obviously there's more games and stuff like that, but those extra games were supposed to bring in extra money last year, and it seems that it hasn't actually achieved that. And I guess football is to blame for that. Like the semi-final attendances last year were desperate. And the thing is, though, can you actually blame that on Mayo not being there? Are Mayo to blame for all of this?
Yeah.
Them not getting to an All-Ireland semi-final has forced the GAA into finding money from elsewhere.
And here's the thing, when they recover this year, the attendance figures will go through the roof, and everybody will be like, oh, it wasn't the game that was the problem. The game's fine. And nobody cared about the prices going up because everybody pays to go and see their county, which is exactly, it's why Man United can introduce a new shirt or a variant of a new shirt as often as they do. It's why Liverpool are making 100 million quid. It's like sports fans are locked into being sports fans and supporters.
Back page of the Herald is Battle of the Brine. City Star excited by Title 5 race with leaders Liverpool, and you've also got that second row double hit for Ireland, says Des Berry. That's a picture of Tadhg Byrne on the back of the Herald. The back page of the Irish Daily Star is disgraceful. Inter-county managers have GAA by the throat. For people listening, the back page of the Irish Daily Star reads disgraceful. The back page isn't disgraceful. Offaly hero depressed by state of the game. So this is Eugene McGee has labelled the complete control inter-county managers have over players as absolutely disgraceful. And you've also got those John Horan comments yesterday saying that the strong economy can justify the hikes. So there's more money in everybody's pockets apparently, and they can justify paying the extra money for league tickets and championship tickets. And then Hazard hinting at Chelsea U-turn, as I've already mentioned. He could decide to stay at Chelsea, the Belgian has said over the last 24 hours. Back page of The Sun is Eddie Mad. City Chiefs video bid to prove refs aren't fair on Stir.
Eddie Mad, I like it.
I like it as well. Is it as good as Battle of the Brine? Probably not. Battle of the Brine, whatever you want to go with. I think the Herald wins this morning. Back page of the Mirror is You're Getting the Sack. Gary Neville says Blues manager Sarri's right to take on Stamford Bridge stars before he is axed. And then tennis leading the way on the UK back pages. The Daily Telegraph sports section goes with Serena is the real number one. Williams beats top-ranked Halep to stay on course for 24th Grand Slam title. And in the back page of The Guardian, it is Williams the Conqueror. Serena Williams celebrates defeating Simona Halep, and Harmony at the Den, Millwall and New Mayor ready to make plans for renovation.